Is Lord of the Rings coming to Universal Orlando and Epic Universe? Hello everybody, welcome. New information reveals we might be seeing Lord of the Rings in a Universal Orlando park, not in the Universal UK park after all. Lord of the Rings has been one of the most popular, one of the most requested, one of the most wanted IPs and lands of probably anything in history. It is definitely one of the most popular fantasy IPs of all time. And though it has been speculated for years that it could be coming to a theme park near you, nothing has ever really materialized. Not for Disney, not for Universal, not for anybody else. Universal themselves has been in talks with the Tolkien estate for a decade, trying to bring something to life. But so far, the Tolkien estate has been just no-go. They've been very protective of the IP and just not interested. Nothing has happened. They really don't want the Lord of the Rings IP to sort of be wrecked. They don't want, they're very protective. They don't want to produce something that is not going to be great. Some people are saying, well, then what happened with Rings of Power? Well, I don't know what happened with Rings of Power. To be honest, I kind of like Rings of Power, at least this last season. The seasons before that, I mean, overall, I feel like it's pretty weak. I could definitely wish it was better than it is, but at least the last season I felt like wasn't too bad. But I don't know what happened there. I don't know how they got that thing pushed through. I don't know how much money they paid, but from a theme park perspective, they just haven't been willing to play ball. However, recently, back in 2023, the Embracer Group, which is a large Swedish conglomerate, they acquired the Lord of the Rings IP to be used for things like gaming, theme parks, all sorts of different things. And they purchased those rights for $395 million. No small price tag there. Now, the Embracer co-founder and CEO Lars Wingefore, he came out on record and said, we are excited about the possibilities that this IP and this acquisition, being able to license it and be able to do things, we're excited about the possibilities this affords us. Gaming, to be sure, is in the cards. But he also said there's lots of interesting conversations outside of gaming that they're really excited about the possibilities for, and talking specifically about how to bring this IP to life in a way that is not gaming specific, which very well could be things like theme parks, attractions, all sorts of things like that. He then goes on to say, but unfortunately for now, I just have to say, stay tuned for the future. So it sounds like there's a lot of cool things maybe happening finally with the Lord of the Rings IP that just haven't happened for the last decade. So it looks like there is movement happening, but we don't know what that movement is. So we are once again, after this, we've been talking about this for a little while, we're starting to continue to hear more and more rumors now. It's bringing this all back to the forefront that could something Lord of the Rings be happening and coming to a theme park? Could we finally be getting a Lord of the Rings attraction or land in a Universal property? A few days ago, Universal dropped some news and confirmed that a brand new Universal theme park is coming to the UK over there across the pond. And we even have concept art about it. We did a whole video where we speculated and we talked about all the really cool things, and we sort of analyzed and diagnosed and said, here's all the possible things that could be coming to this UK park. If you're interested in knowing all about the UK park, I will link to that video below. There's tons of information in there, lots of things that are happening, and it's changing almost every day. I mean, I'm updating my speculation map I feel like every couple of days as new information pours in and we learn more about new trademarks that are being filed. So any new theme park that comes out needs a anchor IP. They need something that people are going to get energized and jazzed about, and that's going to draw the crowds in. So we're looking at figuring out what is the big IP going to be for Universal UK. There was a lot of speculation that immediately said, well, Harry Potter. That's pretty obviously, that's like the birthplace of Harry Potter and the whole wizarding world. It was filmed over in those spaces. There's lots of things happening. Harry Potter is just a natural anchor IP for the UK park. However, there's a big problem with that in that Warner Brothers, which is located over there, already has lots of competitive offerings, things that are Harry Potter related, that they get lots of revenue, lots of tourism for, and it draws lots of people in. So if you were to create another Harry Potter area over near there, near Bedford, that would basically cannibalize and steal a lot of their tourist traffic over into this other park. And so I don't think Warner Brothers would be that jacked about that. And since they own the Harry Potter IP, they're going to be very careful about what they let other people do with that IP. So I've been saying all along, I don't think Harry Potter is coming to this UK park. And in fact, now that we've seen the concept art, I don't see Harry Potter or the Wizarding World, I don't see it anywhere. So if it's not Harry Potter, then what could the anchor IP be? A lot of people have been saying Lord of the Rings, and yes, I definitely agree Lord of the Rings would make total sense over there in that space. Big fan base, I think it's something that's going to draw tons of people into that space. But here's the unfortunate part. I don't see any Lord of the Rings styling or space in this concept art that shows me it's in the park at all. Now, to be clear, it could definitely be there somewhere. Universal is known for sort of altering or hiding their things in their concept art because they don't want to give some of the big spoilers away. There's a big giant building in the back that has no theming whatsoever, and we can't tell at all what that is. So could that be hiding some Lord of the Rings attraction? Yes, it possibly could, but I don't think so. But not only that, unless this concept art is wildly off, I hope it's not Lord of the Rings because it's just a big building. I want to see like ultra amazing theming like you get in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with the giant Hogwarts castle and all these like shops and all this cool stuff. That's what I would expect for Lord of the Rings. I want to see the big iconic things that are happening in that world. I think just having a big giant building with an attraction in there, that's not what I'm looking for Lord of the Rings. So I'm really hoping that that's not the case unless something is dramatically different about the concept art they're just not showing us. But then we received news that there was a trademark filed for Lord of the Rings over in the UK, and everybody started talking about how it's been confirmed, Lord of the Rings is coming, all these people are reporting that Lord of the Rings is happening, and there's this trademark out there, and that's confirmation. Yeah, except it's not. I went and looked and I dug in because that's what I like to do. I like to look at the details, I like to explore, I like to read everything, and I dug into these trademarks. And this is totally fake. It's not a fake trademark, but it has nothing to do with Universal. This trademark was filed way back in September of 2022, and it wasn't even filed by Universal in any way, shape, or form. In addition, it wasn't even filed in the correct category. There's different classifications for trademarks, and you have to identify those, and there is a classification for theme parks, amusement parks, things like that. These were for things like cell phone cases and merchandise and stuff like that. So this was totally fake. That is not true at all. That doesn't mean there isn't Lord of the Rings coming to UK. It just means that this trademark has nothing to do with that, and we don't have any trademark that says it is going to be coming. Unlike Back to the Future, which was also found in the trademark system, and when you look at those trademarks, you can clearly see, one, they were filed very recently, near when the announcement for the concept art in the UK park were first brought to light. There was a Back to the Future trademark filed, and it went into the registry system March 21st of 2025, just a couple of weeks ago. Not only that, one of the classifications for that trademark was number 41, which is amusement and theme parks. So we pretty much at this point, I feel like, have confirmation that Back to the Future is coming to the Universal UK park. Lord of the Rings, not so much. So while that may seem disappointing that we're not getting Lord of the Rings for the UK park, it's also very exciting because we know Universal has been constantly in talks with the Tolkien estate, and most likely, I'm assuming the Embracer group now, trying to work out a deal and see if they can get some sort of Lord of the Rings presence at Universal. Universal is going really heavily into licensing IPs. Now you may say, well, maybe they're talking to Disney. That's true, that could be possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't make sense. Here's why. Disney is systematically removing all IPs that they don't own out of their parks. They're getting rid of everything that's an IP that they don't own, and they're going all in on their owned IPs. So unless Disney is planning on purchasing Lord of the Rings, and I don't mean licensing, I mean purchasing it, which I don't even know if they have the cash flow to do, Lord of the Rings is not coming to Disney anytime soon. So all the talks that they're having, the most likely candidate is, of course, Universal as the next biggest theme park, amusement park producer. I believe it's happening. Universal's having conversations. So if we get Lord of the Rings and it's not going to be in the Universal UK park, where's it going to be? There are three, what I believe are the most likely locations for where Lord of the Rings will go with regards to Universal. Number one in Universal Orlando is the Lost Continent. That is a empty space that just has nothing happening with it. They've shut down everything that was there. Sinbad's show has been gone for years. Poseidon got shut down a while ago. It's been a while now for that too. And it's just this empty space between, the Seuss Landing and the Wizarding World, and you kind of walk through it and you're like, why is this here? Maybe I could pick up a kebab or something, but it's basically a complete waste of space. So we're all waiting for them to do something with that space. Now, it's also been speculated that could be Zelda. We got lots of teasers. There's lots of Easter eggs for Zelda over there in Epic Universe. I went through that in my Epic Universe videos. There's Zelda. There's like 3 Zelda. There's a Ganondorf, a Zelda, and a Link stained glass window in that Nintendo Superstar store there. There's Triforces all over the ground. They're playing the Zelda music. It seems very obvious that they're trying to tell us something. So we could be getting Zelda in the Lost Continent instead of Lord of the Rings. But that is one of the most likely locations because it is already sort of themed in a similar style and you could do a lot with that space. Overall, there's about 8 to 10 acres of unused space that they could repurpose for stuff in that Lost Continent. Just to give you a comparison from a size perspective, Wizarding World Hogsmeade is around 15 acres, and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is around 14 acres. So in this space, we're talking 8 to 10 acres, maybe stretch that up to 12, depending on where the lines and boundaries are drawn based on how I sort of did it. Could be a little bit bigger. So you're talking a little bit less size than Wizarding World Hogsmeade over there at Islands of Adventure right next door, or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is pretty big as well. So not the most ideal space because it's not huge, so I don't feel like we would be getting like a vast Lord of the Rings area if they were to use that space. Might be better for Zelda over there. The next logical location is Toon Lagoon at Islands of Adventure. That place is kind of a flyover land. I think there's a lot of people just got mad. They got mad. There's a lot of people watching my video right now that got mad because they love Toon Lagoon. I know who you are. I know you're out there. You love the water attractions. You love the food locations, Blimpies and all that stuff. The Dagwoods, you love it. I get it. You love it. It's not that popular. Like, a lot of people don't really dig it. And during the summer, maybe they enjoy it, but they're not really going to be doing it when it's not that warm out. So a lot of people don't, like, if I had to pick out, like, the weakest land in all of Islands of Adventure, it's probably going to be Toon Lagoon, other than Lost Continent because there's nothing there. But Toon Lagoon is a little weaker and it has a lot of unused space that they're not doing anything with right now. There is an enormous show building right there when you sort of walk into Toon Lagoon from the superhero area that's not being used, and you could repurpose. Now that entire land is about, I'd say, 4 acres if you're only including the unused space where the sort of show building is. It's about 12 acres if you're including the entire Toon Lagoon with all the water attractions and the restaurants and everything. That entire space is about 12 acres. So if they replace the entire Toon Lagoon, I feel like that would be plenty of space for Lord of the Rings. If they only replace that sort of 4 acres, I'm not sure that would be the best because it would be a very small Lord of the Rings area. It would almost feel like the Kong little bolted on add-on there between Toon Lagoon and Jurassic Park. And of course, the last likeliest location is Epic Universe. Absolutely, Epic Universe. There are 2 large expansion pads that are currently not being used because they're expansion pads for new worlds or new attractions to expand onto existing lands. For example, we know there could potentially be an expansion to Dark Universe for the Creature of the Black Lagoon, some sort of ride or attraction or boat thing there. attraction that was planned for the Wizarding World Ministry of Magic over in that expansion area that was never built. So they could potentially add there or expand into that expansion pad. But there is a ton of space in both of those two areas. The one by Super Nintendo and Dark Universe is around 8 to 10 acres or so, and the one over there by the Ministry of Magic, that one's about 10 to 12 acres or even more. I'm trying to be on the conservative side, but maybe 10 to 12 acres in that one. It's a pretty large plot. So it definitely makes sense to expand and do some sort of Lord of the Rings. I will tell you this. Epic Universe, in my opinion, is not going to overtake Magic Kingdom as the #1 theme park in the United States or the world. I think it still needs more to hit that number. If they want to see attendance numbers at Epic Universe like what Magic Kingdom receives, which is about 18 million or so, almost up to 20 million visitors a year, versus Islands of Adventure and Universal, which were about 10 million individuals, and then like Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, those are all like, 8 to 10 as well. If they want to conquer the mountain, they want to conquer Magic Kingdom, Epic Universe is going to need more stuff. They're definitely going to need to expand the current lands. They need another attraction in Dark Universe. They definitely need another attraction in Wizarding World. And they need to build out most likely those expansion pads, potentially add 2 more IPs into that land, or at least expand Super Nintendo and How to Train Your Dragon and Ministry of Magic into those spaces and add more attractions and features. If they want to take that #1 spot, that's what will be needed. I think they're going to make a dent this year with Epic Universe opening and all the cool things that it has to offer. I think they will take some market share and they'll make some ground, but I don't think they're going to topple Magic Kingdom until Epic Universe is done. Now, if they do build a 4th theme park, 5th park overall if you include Volcano Bay, if they do build that 4th park next to Epic Universe and then a city walk bridge between them and then turn the parking lot into a parking garage and basically create a second version of the Universal and Islands of Adventure situation they have over there with City Walk. If they do that, game over. That is literally game over. I don't know if they'll be able to do that for a while. They need money. They need everyone's money, so start sending them money. Start visiting Epic Universe and going to all their parks so that they can get their money back for all the money they just spent to build Epic Universe. The more they can get that, the more they'll be able to start building another 4th theme park. Once they do that, it's game over. Forget about it. It's gonna go crazy. But I think Epic Universe still needs a little bit more if they want to topple Magic Kingdom. And a Lord of the Rings land in Epic Universe could definitely make a huge impact, and that could do it. That could definitely do it. However, I will caveat that by saying this. We know they're going to turn their investments now more into Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure now that Epic Universe is launching. They really need to reinvest more money into those parks. There's some aging things happening there. There's some empty areas of their current parks. They need to bring them back up to that level so that they don't completely cannibalize their existing business over at Epic Universe. Ideally, you want people doing Epic Universe, but you also want to elevate Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure so that you're getting more attendance on all the parks, not just Epic Universe. So Lord of the Rings coming over to one of those lands definitely makes more sense, in my opinion, because it will draw more traffic into the older parks. I just don't know if they have the space for it or where it would go. Again, those are my hypotheses. That's where I think they could potentially go. But that's all I got overall. Lord of the Rings could be coming to Universal Orlando. I don't know. It seems likely, especially now that it doesn't look like it's coming to the UK park. Could we be getting it at Universal Orlando? I hope so. I'm crossing my fingers. I feel like it's good news that trademark situation was not correct and Lord of the Rings isn't been officially announced for that park, because that means it could be coming to Orlando. So anyhow, let me know what you think. Be sure to comment below. What are you looking for? What have you heard about Lord of the Rings? Are you hearing about any other IPs that we should be keeping our eye on that could be coming over to Epic Universe and the different theme parks here in Orlando? Love to hear from you in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.